Taiwan scrambles jet fighters China after Chinese aircraft enter airspace in the Taiwan Strait. China's Air Force approached Taiwan on Friday for the fourth time in 4 days, Taiwan's military said, as China steps up maneuvers near the island that Beijing claims as its own territory. Taiwan's Air Force said the J-10 fighter jet was involved in the approach but did not say whether only one aircraft or more had entered Taiwan's air defense identification zone to the island's southwest around midday, 0400 GMT. The Chinese Air Force was given a verbal warning to leave, and Taiwanese jets responded, Taiwan's Air Force said, without giving further details. The aircraft then withdrew and the situation returned to normal, it said in a brief statement. In the past week and a half, the Chinese Air Force has buzzed Taiwan 6 times, according to Taiwan's military. China has not said in public why it has increased its activity near the island, but has previously described such drills as routine and intended to show China's determination to defend its sovereignty. Taiwan's Air Force, which is well-trained and is modernizing its US-made F-16 fighter jets, routinely patrols above the sensitive Taiwan Strait, which separates the island from its much larger neighbor. China has never renounced the use of force to bring democratic Taiwan under its control, though the island has shown no interest in being ruled by autocratic Beijing. Taiwan has complained China has stepped up its military activity, including sending aircraft carriers near the island, since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Taiwan has scrambled fighter jets after Chinese military aircraft briefly entered its airspace, the first major incursion since the island's Beijing-wary president was re-elected in January. Taiwan's defense ministry said on Monday that Chinese H-6 bombers and accompanying aircraft briefly crossed over a median line in the Taiwan Strait. The Taiwanese president, Tsai Ing-wen, castigated Beijing for taking meaningless and unnecessary military moves at a time when it should be containing a deadly coronavirus outbreak. The virus, which emerged in the central Chinese city of Wuhan, has killed more than 900 people and has spread to Taiwan and other parts of the world. I want to remind the Chinese government that it's not only meaningless but also unnecessary to make military moves at the time of the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak, she said in a posting on Facebook. Monday's incursion came after Chinese H-6 bombers and J-11 fighters flew close to Taiwan on Sunday but did not cross the median line, according to the Taiwanese Defense Ministry. For the second day, Chinese combat aircraft flew close to Taiwan. Listen, H-6 bombers are useless against coronavirus, tweeted Taiwan's foreign minister, Joseph Wu. The incursion was only the second time Chinese aircraft crossed the largely respected line dividing the two sides in the strait in the past year. The aircraft returned to Chinese airspace after Taiwanese fighter jets took appropriate responsive and interceptive measures and broadcast warnings to leave, the state's defense ministry said. The ministry did not specify how many and what type of Chinese aircraft had crossed the median line on Monday. Last March, 2 Chinese J-11 fighter jets crossed over the line for the first time in years, prompting Taipei to accuse Beijing of violating a long-held tacit agreement in a reckless and provocative move. China has ramped up the number of fighter and warship crossings near Taiwan or through the strait since Tsai was first elected in 2016. Her government refuses to acknowledge that Taiwan is part of one China. In December, shortly before elections, a newly commissioned Chinese aircraft carrier sailed through the Taiwan Strait for a second time. The Shandong, China's first domestically built carrier, also traversed the strait in November, prompting Washington's de facto embassy in Taiwan to raise concerns. Tsai won a second term and a landslide victory in January, an outcome seen as a forceful rebuke of Beijing's campaign to isolate Taiwan. China still views the self-ruling democratic island as part of its territory and vows to one day seize it by force if necessary,